Hi Graham, how's the injury list looking? Anyone due back?
No, I would say no. I think Ruben was on the bench the last match to be on the bench essentially, but he's a lot closer now, so he can play more minutes. Boys are progressing well. Reece has joined team training but won't be involved at the weekend, same as Ben Chilwell, and then everybody else is pretty much where we were.
Noni Madueke, what can you tell us about him?
Nothing really. I know there's a lot of noise around there, but at the moment nothing to announce. The club hasn't announced anything, and I'm not in a position to speak anymore until he's a Chelsea player. Then nothing further to say. Do
you know about his background though, his qualities that he might bring?
Yes.
Can you share those?
No.
You don't know. You're not willing to tell us what sort of player he is.
I will if he's a Chelsea player. I don't like to talk about players that aren't Chelsea players.
Right. Okay. And Mudryk is a Chelsea player.
He is.
How's he settled in?
Good. Really good. Young player, exciting player, fantastic speed, 1v1, can attack the back line, and now we're just going to help him adapt to the Premier League, adapt to us. He's obviously come from a mid-season break, so hasn't played so much football recently, but has been training well. So we'll obviously assess him and see how much he can play at the weekend.
How likely is he to make his debut?
Yeah, there's a chance.
You feel he's ready to go straight into the team?
Well, again, it's how much he can do. I think 90 minutes, no, but there's probably a role for him at some stage in the game.
He's still young, but there's a lot of expectation and hype on his shoulders. How do you ensure that he settles in, that doesn't affect him, and he has a smooth transition?
Yeah, I think you've just got to help him understand and help everybody understand that he's coming from a different country, different league. So he has to adapt, like I said, to us, to the competition. He's a young player that's got a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and at the same time he's had some really good experiences already. So exciting player.
He made his fondness of Arsenal very clear throughout the process. Is his heart definitely blue now?
Well, he's come in and he's trained very, very well, and he's very happy to be here. So all the other stuff I have no comment on. He's looking forward to his career here, and he's excited to get started.
And how many more transfers are likely, do you think, in this window? Chelsea fans expect?
I don't think there's going to be too many, to be honest.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've got no complaints about the squad. I think I've said before, the January window's very complex. You might want A, B, and C, but A, B, and C aren't available. So in terms of positional need, but at the same time, you're always looking to strengthen your team, and I think we've done that. I think we've strengthened the squad. It's exciting, the players we have, and when obviously players come back, there's a good squad of players there, and exciting squad of players.
John Southall, pipeline.
Talking about players coming in, and do you need to move some players on? Obviously, you've got a lot of players now, a lot of wingers in a similar position. I mean, not necessarily in January, but maybe in the summer. Is that something you need to look at?
Well, I think constantly you've got to analyse the squad, analyse where it's at, how you can strengthen it. Sometimes it's add-in, sometimes it's for the good of everybody, moving out. But again, that's on a case-by-case basis, and we'll look at that as and when.
Where you sit now, 10th in the Premier League, out of the FA Cup, what would constitute a successful season, would you say, from where you are now?
Beating Liverpool is my focus. I don't worry about what's going to happen in 5 months' time. We have to keep improving. We've been through a really tough time. We're still together as a team, still together as a club. So that's very positive. There's a lot of things to look forward to in terms of the players that are available for us returning from injury, the players that we've signed, the understanding that we have as a group together has got more and more because of the time we've had. So yeah, I don't think it's at this point worth worrying about what the season finishes and what it looks like then. We have to just focus on the next game.
You mentioned Liverpool. Have you been surprised by their start to the season and the struggles they've had? Do you think they look vulnerable?
Well, I don't think it's about surprise. I think it's about no matter who you are, and Liverpool, you're talking about one of the best teams the Premier League has ever seen, with one of the best managers the Premier League has ever seen, and you know that if you have key players missing, you have problems, then the Premier League can You know, it amazes me how people talk about the Premier League being the best league in the world, and then not, I'm asked about whether it's surprising if people struggle in it. It's like, well, there's two positions here. You know, that's what it is. Jurgen's a fantastic guy, a fantastic manager. They'll fix it. They'll come through the struggles, and then we all know their quality.
Let's ask you one last one on Mark Cucurella. Obviously, he came here at a big price. Is he slipping down your packing order? He hasn't featured much recently. Obviously, didn't come on at the weekend.
No, not necessarily. I think some players have, there's some dips in form, different solutions, different options in the game. That's sometimes the case. Lewis Hall has done well. We have to manage his games and his role because he's a young player just starting out. Mark's had a lot to deal with as well in terms of, sometimes these things happen in how you settle into a team, how you settle into a club, how you settle into a new group. I think it's been challenging for him. Yeah, he's had some things off the pitch as well, family-wise, that have been difficult for him as well. So, again, there's many factors. Sometimes it's simplistic. You just see the guy on the pitch and you have a verdict on him. But there's all sorts of things going on in his life. I know Mark well. I know Mark at his best. He's a top player.
Alex Aldrin.
Hi Graham, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
As you just said, Chelsea have been through a really tough time, but was that win against Crystal Palace enough to transform the mood around here? Was it as simple as that?
Well, no, but I think we'd had a period of suffering, shall we say, and it's nice to win. And I think the good thing was during that period we were together. We were, it wasn't up in flames here. It was a group that understood the position we were in, but at the same time determined and focused to try to turn it around. And at the same time have the maturity and the intelligence to understand the situation as well, without disrespecting the criticism and all the rest of the noise that comes your way when you don't get the results that you should at Chelsea. So the win has been important for us, but it's just a win. We need to back it up, and we need to go to Liverpool and play well and try to get the 3 points.
Are you confident you can get a result? You know what it takes to win at Anfield?
Well, yes, I'm confident, but I also respect Liverpool. I respect Anfield. I respect the challenge. It's a tough place to go at any point. It's a fantastic football club, and like I said, Jurgen's a top manager, and they're a top team. But I like the team at the moment for us. I like the fact that we've come through a tough spell. There's a good feeling. Players are coming back. New players arriving. There's a buzz, I think, in the training ground. So that's nice.
Just finally, a lot of new faces around here. What does that do to the dynamic of the squad? And is that another big challenge for you to ensure that they all gel together?
Yes, it is. You can speak about culture and speak about environment. It's essentially about people, and it's about trying to create a team. It's trying to create a group, and that's ultimately my challenge as we go. We've had different challenges as I reflect back on my time here, and that's the one going forward now, to integrate new players into the group, a feeling of togetherness. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up, so we need to be ready.
Okay, last question in the broadcast section, Adam Newson.
Hi, Graham.
Hi.
After this game, you have the best part of 2 weeks to work with your squad. It's not something you've had a great deal of throughout your time here, so how important is that going to be for you as a coach and for the players to fully get up to speed with your demands and going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks. It's an important period for us. When you consider that we've got some new faces, players coming back from injury, so it's going to be an important period, and one we're looking forward to. Obviously, we need to focus on the game first and get that out of the way and recover from that. But yeah, we'll use the time as best we can.
Hi, Emma.
Hey James.
How's things on the injury front? Did everyone come through the Arsenal game unscathed?
Yeah, everybody. I always find that question hard to answer, because in football environments it might be that you don't actually know until the moment in kick-off exactly who you've got as an entire squad. Because sometimes you've got to manage the loads in the training week, and sometimes they might get little niggles that might need managing. In terms of having everybody available from last week, I'd say it'd be probably the same. But then again, I won't know till Saturday.
Reflecting on the Arsenal game, bit of time to think about it. You weren't overly happy with the performance. What have you looked to work on this week?
Look, this team has won a lot. Has won a lot for a long period of time. Has been at the top for a long period of time. But it's not a future predictor of success. And I think for our team, it's so important that we understand that one, it's never easy, but most importantly, you have to keep finding something else if you want to stay there. And I think every player is always going to try their best for the team. I felt that we lacked the quality in ourselves that, for me, I expect if we're going to compete to win trophies this year. And that this is less about the performance against Arsenal. The result is a fantastic result from us away from home. But my expectations for the team are much higher. And that the things that I want to see for the team is that recognition that whatever it took in the past to get us where we are is not going to be enough for us to go to the next step. So the training week this week for me is important, and the performance on Saturday in terms of our application, I will demand the utmost from our team, and I will demand the most from our fans too. I want to make sure the fans, make it demand the most from the team in a time where everything's tight. And I think as a team, as a club, we have to keep pushing on all fronts if we're going to end up where we want to.
Is that a test of yourself as well, to get the best out of your players in the current situation?
I mean, listen, as Mike Tyson said, fear is like a fire. It'll either warm you or it'll burn you. And the realities are that you have to be mindful that there's always a threat. Whether that threat is yourself, whether it's the opponent, that threat is there, that is real. And my job every day is firstly to remind myself that I want fire to warm me. But my job is to make sure that it does exactly the same to my entire team. Otherwise, if it burns you, it will destroy you. And I think that for the time that I've been here, that's been one of my tasks as a manager. But when you're serial winners like we are, the next steps for me as a whole are the ones that you have to be even more mindful of than the past.
And do you need to be mindful of Liverpool given the result in September as well?
Yes, 100%. They are the only team to beat us in the league this year. And while our performance on that day was not at our level, for me, the most interesting or important thing for me is that when I go out on that training pitch today, that it's an even better session than it was yesterday. And if it isn't, then I can't expect that to be the case on Sunday.
Is there a score to settle from that game, do you think?
I guess I don't think about the game like that. I'm so fixated and focused on everything I can control right in this minute that all of my attention is what I go out and do on the grass. And as you can see from my energy, I want to go and coach. I want to go and train today. And I want to demand the intensity of this team to find another level in itself.
The Arsenal goal, the foul was outside the box. I know you spoke about it after the game, but does that just reiterate the need now for VAR to be introduced in the Women's Super League?
Yes, 100%. But I've been saying this for a long time. The investment's there. The women's game deserves it.
Is there any signs that will happen? Have you heard anything on that front?
No, I haven't heard anything. But I think it would be a major failure if it wasn't in place for the beginning of next season.
Do you think it will be?
I hope so.
In order to bring the women's game level with the men, that's only the right and fair thing to do.
Listen, I'm only going to judge it by, as I've said before, there's so many times, I don't know, very quick players in the league are faster than the people on the sidelines, the lines people. It's important from not just the perspective of a penalty or a goal scoring situation, but even things like offside. We have to support our officials to train with the same intensity and hard work that all the players and coaches have to do, and we're setting them up to fail if we don't support them to have a larger pool that are more full-time, gaining more and more experience, plus having VAR to help them much in the same way that takes place across the men's game.
Just finally from me, news this week that the Welsh FA have made the men and women's teams paid equally. Just your reaction to that? No doubt you won't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a monumental achievement for Welsh football. One that I suspect we'll be seeing hopefully in more places across the world, and it's one that should be a basic standard, so it's good news.
Do you think other nations will follow suit?
I hope, but as I've said to you 3 times today, the only thing I'm fixated on is how hard I'm going to push my group today.
Good stuff. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Perfect. Thank you very much. James, any further questions?
Yeah, just a couple more.
Dan?
I don't know. With a couple of big cup games coming up, does rotation come into your thinking at all, or with the title races, just not something you can really consider?
I haven't picked a team yet. I think today's session will, at least play the most important part in that decision making. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. And as I've said before, it's all of these players are good enough to start, and I can only pick 11. But I will pick 11 based on what's being done out there and what's required of the game.
And you spoke about the challenge of keeping the levels high. Obviously, something that Pep Guardiola was also talking about yesterday as well in his press conference. How do you do that, and what are your expectations, and how do you go to that next step that you were talking about?
I can completely relate to his interview yesterday. I haven't seen his whole interview. I've seen a bit of it, and I can completely relate to the piece that around being serial winners, and that the demands you have to place on yourself is your self-regulation levels have to be so high. And as Bill Bezic once said, attitude is like a tank, a fuel tank, and you have to fill it up all the time, and especially at this level. And you have to be so mindful of what it takes to win football matches. And that's not just purely tactical, and it's not purely effort. It's the entire piece, the whole holistic piece in and around when you have a lot. Maintaining that fire in your belly, plus applying all the little details that absolutely matter, will determine whether or not you will sustain that level or not, because the opponent is always catching. The opponent is always ready to pounce. However, for me, the biggest opponent in any dressing room is yourself.